With all the doom and gloom surrounding bank collapses in 2023, I decided I was going to go out and find the 5 best bank accounts for this year. And this was also a request from one of my subscribers who watched my budgeting videos and was wondering what banks are good to save and budget in. What banks allow you to have multiple bank accounts? What banks have little to no fees at all? And in this video, I'm going to answer all of those questions with the 5 best bank accounts for 2023. Hi, my name is Adrian, and this is Always Talk Money. I like to talk money as it relates to everyday life. I don't have any get-rich-quick schemes, just a candid conversation amongst friends. Let's get into the video. Now, I'm not going to list these banks in order of best to worst. I'm just going to list them just how I wrote them and researched them down. Each bank has different benefits, and depending on your situation, you might want to go with one bank versus the other. So watch until the end to see all of the banks, and then you can know which bank for sure goes with your financial situation. So the first bank on the list is Ally Bank. This is an online-only bank, so it has no physical location. And depending on what type of services you may need, that might be a drawback for you. I have personally used this bank and never had any issues with this bank. If you go to an ATM to withdraw money and you are charged a fee, they will reimburse you for that fee. So that's a good thing. I will also say for an online only bank, their customer service is top notch. And not only that, they have no minimum deposit and no monthly fees. So all the savings that they are having by not having any physical locations is going back directly towards the customers. So that's especially good for folks on a very tight budget. You don't have to worry about maintenance fees for your banking needs. And speaking of budget, in their savings account, you can create up to 10 buckets for different needs depending on your financial goals. So I think that's a great benefit, especially for people who don't want to mix up their money. They don't want to have one big pile of money and they don't know which dollar goes to where. And to wrap it up with Ally Bank, they do have very good savings rate on their savings account, money market account, and their certificates of deposit. So just a solid bank all around. The second bank on the list that has no physical locations as well, but they do have 90,000 ATM free withdrawal location, and that's Axos Bank. If you've never heard of it, this is your introduction to that bank. And for all the things that Ally Bank is good at with savings account, Axos is very good at checking accounts. They have 4 types of checking accounts and they all have some great benefits. They have an essential checking, a rewards checking, a cashback checking, and a business checking. So if I were you, I would probably use Ally Bank for savings and Axos Bank for checking. That way you can mix and match and get the best of both worlds. They have no monthly fees, no overdraft fees, but they do have a minimum deposit, and that's $50. With their lowest tier checking account, which is the essential checking, you will get early access to direct deposits. They also have no minimum deposit and no minimum fees. I did say they have $50 minimum deposit, but that's not on the essential checking, which is really excellent. A checking account that pays you 3.3% APY, that's a win-win in my book. Not only that, you get 1% cash back on all signed debit card purchases. That's free money that you don't want to leave on the table, guys. But this is the account that you need the $50 minimum deposit on. So why not open an Axos account and spend $50, make a minimum deposit, and get 3.3% APY on your checking account. That's basically unheard of to get 3.3% APY in a checking account. And the business checking account is basically a combination of a basic account and a high yield checking account. So all in all, a good solid bank, and it's good for all your checking account needs. Guys, if you're liking this video so far, please hit subscribe. We're trying to get those subscribers up, as well as hit a like for the YouTube algorithm so more people can get this information and more people can know what the best banks are for 2023. The third bank I'm really excited about for 2023 is SOFI Bank. They have a 4.20% APY on their savings account and no minimum deposit if you set up direct deposit. So imagine you have a savings account that's going to guarantee you 4.2% returns. You can't go wrong on that. As long as you set up a direct deposit, you have that 4.2% locked in. Now, if you don't want to set up that direct deposit, that APY percentage goes down to 1.20%. So you definitely want to take advantage of that direct deposit if I were you. Now, SoFi Bank is FDIC insured, as are all the banks on this list, but they even take it a step further. Enroll in their SOFI Insured Program and you get that protection up to $2 million. That's basically unheard of. When I was doing research on these banks and I saw that you can get your money insured up to $2 million, I was like, I definitely have to include that on the list. SOFI is also an online only bank, but who cares when they're giving out 4.2% APY and insuring your money up to $2 million. The fourth bank on the list that I found was CITBank, CITBank. So that's not to be confused with CitiBank. It's CITBank. Now this bank I have been seeing popping up every single where, and that's not always a good thing, but in this case it is a good thing. And now speaking of high rollers from the last bank that I told you about with the up to $2 million insured deposit, CITBank has a minimum deposit of $5,000, but there's a catch. The catch is they will offer you 4.85% APY. That's basically half of the S&P 500, but in this case it's guaranteed. So if you have $5,000, you're a little bit of a high roller, you might want to go with this bank. We've all heard about how when you put money in the bank, it's basically losing its value because inflation is eating up all of the value. Here's a bank that's going to give you almost 5% return on your money, provided you give them $5,000. To me, that's an easy deposit to make. If you don't, however, have $5,000, but you still want to bank with them, you can get 0.25% APY, but you have to have a minimum deposit of $1,000. So definitely nowhere near that almost 5% APY. Also, in my research, I saw that they have really good customer care service. And this is very important because this is an online only bank as well. But don't go anywhere. At the end of the list, I have a bank that has physical locations, right? So I was doing the research and I was like, man, I really need to get these guys a bank that has a physical location. With CITBank as well, you can have multiple accounts, multiple savings accounts, multiple checking accounts. They basically have anything that you need depending on your financial situation and also depending on your financial goals. Now, the fifth bank on the list is Capital One. They have 300 branches that you can go into physically. As I said, I was going to promise you a bank that had physical location, and that bank is Capital One. And we all know Capital One from those commercials with Samuel L. Jackson, what's in your wallet, right? So this is a trusted bank, a trusted credit card company as well, and they are also, of course, FDIC insured. Everything is up on top of board. Also, they have no minimum deposit, no overdraft fees, and no monthly maintenance fees. So just a solid bank altogether. Now, with this bank having physical locations, they don't have as good as APYs as the other online banks. And I could not find Capital One's direct APYs, but they are better than most physical branches like a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America and so on and so forth. And even though they only have 300 branches, they do have 70,000 ATM fee-free locations. And their Capital One 360 Performance Savings accounts is worth checking out, as well as their 360 Certificate of Deposit Savings accounts as well. Now guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you found incredible value. What banks are you going to go with? Let me know in the comments down below. If it were me, I would probably pair Ally Bank with Axos Bank just to get the checking account and the savings account with top of the line performance. If you have a little bit more money, you have over $1 million that you don't want to necessarily risk in the market in this day and age, maybe go with SOFI Bank with their up to $2 million insurance. If you have maybe 10, 15,000 that you want to park somewhere and get close to 5% return on that, then CITBank is definitely the way to go with their 4.85% APY. And then if you are old school and you need a physical branch, of course, Capital One has 300 locations. Depending on what you need, there's options for every single thing that you might want in your financial situation. With that being said, guys, thank you guys for watching. Give a like for the YouTube algorithm, share this around, send it to some people. If they need some banking needs, let me know in the comments below what you think. And until then, I will see you. Peace